Good morning, Rabbi Sai, live from MDY Beis Medrash. Gishmak, Lili Nishmasim Mirosi Ruspas Mordechai. Sponsored by Shmuley Burnout. In honor of my 29th wedding anniversary to my wife, Shendel. She gets the schus of my learning for constant support and dedication. I don't know, I have a shayler if he's married for 29. I don't know if he himself knows he's married for 29 years. She was in my wife's class, and we're only married for 26. Something doesn't add up here. Okay, fine, maybe. May Hashem continue to give her gesund, nachas, koyach, and everything she desires. That would be like really embarrassing if he messed up the year. Paras Achoyda, Shia Greenfield, Green Star Electrical Contracting, Yossi Klein, Superior Plumbing, Muncie. Just a few very short emails here. This one is from Zev Gruber from South Tottenham, London. I'm new to the shir, starting Pesachim, keeping up with it, and won't go to bed without doing the daf through the shir. Baruch Hashem, keeping it up. We go from chayil to chayil. There's another one here from, there's another one from London. Here, this one is for Gary. Shalom Baruch, I've been doing the daf, but decided to also join Rebellious Shir via YouTube, and have been enjoying it immensely since the beginning of Pesachim. Another guy from the beginning of Pesachim. I just started this Motzi Shabbos and Daf Chof Aleph, watching, listening, noticed that Rebelli moved to the Beis Medrash. The camera's too far from him. You can't see his artistic printouts, which I got 2 emails like this today. It loses his up-close, Rebbe-like personal touch, and of course can't see and therefore visualize the printouts. Is there any chance? Okay, fine. That's for Gary. Then we have one from Avram Ben Zev. Just to remind you, you know that shtickle Torah that is said, that the smelliest place on earth, I thought, I'm making it up, in the stomach of a whale. He said, no, just to remind you that the most smelly place mentioned in the Mishnah, Brura, is a tannery. To the point that if a person is a tanner, grounds for, she could divorce him. And then he says, he could make from that smelly place, he takes my shtickle Torah and make a Torah and film from it. I was just saying, whoever went into a whale's stomach, it's not even possible, whatever, fine. I hear the aura. Here's another one. Okay, this we'll use it later. I guess I'm supposed to open this today. Yeah? What is this? I'm assuming it's cash. What else is inside here? Ooh. A gift certificate from Avi Sherman. Thank you for spending every day with me over the last almost 12 months. May you and your family be blessed with good health, happiness, and parnasa. Best wishes for a Freilich Chanukah. Gift certificate for Judaica Bookstore. All right, so donate Svarim, Mishkoyach. Thank you very much. We need some Svarim here, so I'll give it to here. That'll be my... All right, you guys ready? What are you going to do if I mess up, say something stupid? How are you going to make fun of me? Huh? You just make fun of me right in my face? He says, I'm saying misvara. Okay.
No, his aura is not, doesn't
He's sticking up for me now. He's supposed to knock me. Okay.
100%. He'll knock you when you need to be knocked.
Okay. All right, I'm waiting. Looking forward, Rabbi Say. Daf Chof Beis Amud Aleph. So we're holding middle of a sugya. I compiled a list for those of you who haven't been here last night. It's not important, this list, just to show you what we're about to encounter all of this. A wild ride through Shas of all the Mekaymas. This reminds me of that time that he put the phone, I yelled at him, and then I got yelled at. And I said, he's okay, whatever, Lam Shana. This is what I'm talking about. Just to throw me off. Here, Shalom Aleichem, here we are. Anybody else want to make a noise? Do it now and let's get it over with. All right, so we're starting with Chametz B'Pesach, Nevela, Treifa. We're holding basically around Treifa area. Then we still have to do all of this. This is not a complete list, but it has a lot of it. So, no, Chamal. We had a machlokes. If the Torah says, first by Chametz it says, Lo Ye'achal is interesting lashon, so that also includes Isra Anah. What if the Torah doesn't say Lo Ye'achal, interesting lashon, just says Lo Yoichal, Lo Yisoichlu, like that. So we have a machlokes. Chizkiah says it doesn't include Isra Anah. And then we have Rebavo says, anytime it says any lashon whatsoever, lo yoichal, lo yisoichlu, whatever it is, it includes isur hana. Not only the Torah doesn't mean just don't eat. The Torah means don't eat, don't benefit either. The Gemara goes through nevela just real quickly. Nevela, the Torah says specifically you could have hana from it. You could give it to a ger who accepted upon himself shev mitzvah v'nei noyach, or sell it to a guy. So that machlokes Rabbi Yehuda doesn't mean exactly give it to the guy, give it to the ger as a present, sell to the guy. You cannot reverse it. Da, da, da. According to Rabbi Yehuda, that it's very, very specific. So we can't learn anything from nevela at all, because the Torah is telling us, give a gift to the ger, sell it to the guy. So how does he know this idea that when the Torah doesn't say specifically, if you hold like Reb Meir that it doesn't matter, you could give it, it's just, you should be makdim a ger, it's nicer, with mitzuv lach. So you see from nevela, from the fact that the Torah went through the whole trouble to tell you that not only the Torah says you can't eat a nevela, but you're allowed to have anah from it. But that's very specific to nevela. Any other place in the Torah, you're not allowed to have anah. But how does the Rebbe Yehuda learn that? He learns that dvarim ksavim, the Torah is telling us specifically you have to do it in this order. Give a gift to a ger or sell it, but you can't mix it up. You can't sell it to the ger, although we said you could, but you cannot give it as a gift to a goy. So the Gemara says, Nafkele, last line on Chaf Aleph Amud Beis, we read it yesterday, we learned it quickly. Nafkele melekelev tashlichun oisai. By treifa, the Torah says, don't eat it, and then the Torah says you can benefit from it. Give it to the dog. Oisai atam mashlich lakelev, v'i atam mashlich lakelev, kol isum shabbat Torah. Do I have it here? Just it's the beginning of the pasuk. If you don't remember what it is, loy seichelu. Again, it's the interesting loy seichelu shouldn't eat. Lakelev tashlichun oisai. So the point is that this atamashlich lakelev, v'atam mashlech lakelev kol isum shabbat Torah. So it's a specific thing over here. Once again, it's like similar to nevela. Torah says you're allowed to benefit from the treifa, but other isurim, this whole list, not. You can't have enough from it. We're going to go through. So there are things that you could, you can't. There's a very important Rashi here. Top Rashi. Rashi goes into a question. We're not going to get into it. Why don't you learn from the actual pasuk itself? Forget about Oisai. And Rashi says a very important thing. 4 lines down. V'never Mitzrayim, 3 lines down. She'ein HaKadosh Baruch Hu mekapeach schar kol bria. Kadosh Baruch Hu won't forget any creature in this world. Any person or creature that does a good deed will get paid. How do we know this? From this pasuk. Because it says, "V'never Mitzrayim lo yechatz kelev l'shoynoi lefichach hikpid Torah litin scharoi." Because the dog was silent when Klal Yisrael left, he's going to get a schar. And where do we see it? La kelev tashlichun oisoi. That obviously applies to human beings as well. Don't say I'm a lowly human being and I don't. You're going to get your sechar. Just like the dog gets it, you're going to get your sechar. And then Rashi goes on. V'nichbat schar kelev ben ha'oivd kechavim. A dog gets more sechar than a goy. Shanevelu yimkol lenachri utreifa lekelev. The dog gets the treifa, which is better than an avela. Why is the treifa better than an avela? Because the shchita. You shecht it. Later on you find there's a hole in the heart. But it's a much better animal than just the animal that drops dead at an old age. Zog the Gemara. He doesn't need this oisai. He learns it from nevela, the whole idea that the entire Torah is asur ba'ana. Anytime that there's isra achila, there's isra hana. So now, part of the ride, we're talking about chulin shenishchatu ba'azara. What's chulin shenishchatu ba'azara? You have a goat, you can't find yourself a good shoichet, you don't want to get your backyard dirty. When we shechted our sheep, it's a mess, we didn't even know where to do it. Where do you do it? My wife didn't let me do it on the porch, remember? We had a big problem. Where do you do it? In the shul, you can't do it. So what does this guy do? He takes the sheep to the Beis HaMikdash, goes over the kohen, shecht it. So he shechts it. Then the kohen says, and where am I going to do this rika? He says, no. I forgot to tell you, this is private. It's asur to use it. This is isur. But it's not mamish mufurish in the Torah, so this is where we learn it from. So if you were just to learn it regularly, just read it with the chavrusa, you might miss this point. The Gemara is not saying lav do'iraisi, that it's not a do'iraisa. It is a do'iraisa. The Isser Hana is not do'iraisa. Okay? Mosir Rabbi Yitzchok Nafcha v'harei gid hanosha. So yesterday I said a sinew. So here's Jonathan Stern, another guy from London. Dear Rabbi Eli Stefansky, the gid hanosha is not a sinew. It's the sciatic nerve. Retired Menaker, Jonathan Stern from London, UK. Everybody in London seems to be either Sheikhet, your father, Bernard David, Sheikhet. We have Rav Weisfish. Yeah, it's a sciatic nerve. It's also sinew. I think it's a sinew. I'm pretty sure it's a sinew, but it's called sciatic nerve. Fine. During Chulin, we used it was interchangeable. What?
More importantly, it's a filet mignon.
It's here. Let me show you real quickly. Where are we? Gid hanosha. So here you have the kafa yorech. It's in the hip, and then you have this gid hanosha. What does it look like? Exactly. So these are pictures from Chulin. Chulin, we had a lot of fun. It's this guy right over here, this white sciatic nerve. We'll call it the proper way. He's right, but I don't know that sinew is mamish mufrach. Did it deserve an email? I don't know. Okay, fine. If you want a mamish sciatic nerve, these Londoners mamish makbid. Weiter. So here it says don't eat. What does don't eat mean? Could you have ana or not have ana? We're going through a whole sugya that anytime the Torah says don't eat, it means don't have ana from it. Can't have ana either. Can't benefit. You could benefit from it. You could send the whole yorech to a guy, the whole hip. Send it with the sciatic nerve, and you're going to benefit. It's fuller, it's nicer, it weighs more. So over here, the concern is that the guy might turn around and sell it to a Jew. We're not concerned he'll sell it to the Jew. Even if he sells it to the Jew knows that there's still a gid hanosha there. If a Jew sees you giving it to the guy, don't think that he'll assume, that was the whole sugya of it. Don't think he'll assume that if you're giving it to the guy, you remove the sciatic nerve. No. He knows, he could tell that there's a gid hanosha inside, he'll remove it himself, don't worry about it. So, Akopanim, it says, you're allowed to have anah from it. Why can you have anah? The Torah says, Loi yoichlu. Loi yoichlu includes no anah. Take it out. So you probably think to yourself, how can you even send to a guy? Tosfos discusses it. He's your neighbor, you're allowed to send to a guy. There's no leisachanim over here because you owe it to him for whatever favors he did it for you. Because okay, special halacha that in the nevela, when the Torah says, that was the beginning of the sugi yesterday. The Torah says, mufurish by nevela, you could sell it to a guy or give it to a ger. In that, it includes the chaylev that's asur and the gid hanosha that's asur. It's all included in nevela. It's unbelievable how many different sugis we're going to be touching, how many different halachas in one daf. There's a whole machlokes in Chulin over there. If the gid hanosha, the sciatic nerve, has flavor, doesn't have flavor, does it ruin a dish, doesn't ruin a dish? Huh? You're using your art scroll? The art scroll calls it a sinew. Shkoyach. Yeah, I know. Listen, we did. No, but he's right. It's called a sciatic nerve. It's in the category of sinews. I know. What you think? You think Panovich? They said sinew. I got the word from art scroll. That's where I got it from years ago when we were learning Chulin. If it doesn't have a flavor, so then it's not part of the nevela. Nevela includes food, edible things. You have the meat, you have chaylev, geshmak of fat. But why would it include sinews? If it doesn't have a flavor, then it's not included. Says the Gemara, you're right. Rabbi Shimon. Only Rabbi Shimon is the one that holds it doesn't have flavor. And this whole thing doesn't go according to Rabbi Shimon. If you eat a non-kosher animal, you're chayiv on the gid hanosha two averos. First for gid hanosha, because Rabbi Yehuda holds this gid hanosha on a non-kosher animal. Plus you're eating treif meat. Rabbi Yehuda mechayiv shtayim. Rabbi Shimon poiter. Rabbi Shimon argues on both things. First of all, he says gid hanosha only applies to a kosher animal, and second of all, it doesn't have any flavor. So if it doesn't have flavor, you're not over. What if you eat a rhinoceros's horn? Are you chayiv on a behemoth tmeya? Not just horn, right? $500,000 horn. You chayiv? No. If you eat the nail of a horse, you chayiv? No. It's not food. It's not edible. It's not a basar. So male, if you eat the giran nasha of a behema tmeya, says Reb Shimon, you potter completely. Why? First of all, it's not meat. Second of all, there's no giran nasha on a behema tmeya. It only applies to the kosher animal. If it was a kosher animal, has no flavor, too bad. It's giran nasha, you chayiv. But since it only applies to a kosher animal, not to a treif, and it doesn't even have flavor, so you're not chayiv on the eating part as well. So you potter it completely. According to Reb Yehuda, you chayiv too. Shimon Ochanami, Reb Shimon poiter. Reb Shimon Ochanami dasvana. Reb Shimon is the one that says you're not allowed to give the giran nasha to your neighbor guy. The sign you giran nasha mutar bana the Reb Yehuda Reb Shimon noiser. Okay, who's the one that says ein begidim noiser tam Reb Shimon? He doesn't fit into our sugya complete at all. The whole question was that you're allowed to give your neighbor a giran nasha with the gid inside. So you see that you're allowed to have anah from a giran nasha. Reb Shimon argues. Reb Shimon says, first of all, ein begidim noiser tam, and he's the one that says you cannot have anah from a gid. You can't give your neighbor that extra gid. You got to remove it before you give it to the goyish neighbor. All right, done with that sugya. Brand new sugya. Varedam, going down the line. To give you an idea where we're holding, we did this, we're holding over here. On row number 1, in the middle. Dam. Varedam, the Rachmana Omar, kol nefesh mikem lo yisoichal dam. Again, a lashon of lo yisoichal dam. According to Rebbe Avo, lo yisoichal means Isser Hana. According to Chizkiah, no. Only lo ye'achel means Isser Hana, but lo yisoichal doesn't mean Isser Hana. So according to Rebbe Avo, Usnan, Eilu ve'eilu misarvim ba'amo. So you have, in the Beis HaMikdash, you have right over here, by this red arrow I did, it's tiny, you can't really see. I don't think even your fancy, let's see if that lens could do it. I doubt it. There's 2 black dots here. Do you see them? I don't really see them. Maybe on your screen. Anyway, right by this red arrow, right over here, between my finger and the arrow, there's a drain. So you take the blood from the chatos that you shechted in this area over here, and that you sprinkle on this mizbeach, to the chatos that you sprinkle the dam inside over here. When? There's different times. Let's say I'm in Kippur. You sprinkle the blood over here. But what do you do with the dam? So the chatos, the regular chatos, you spill over here. The other one you spill over here, somewhere over here. But at the end of the day, the drains, they hook up together, and it drains out of the Beis HaMikdash. So the blood mixes up over there. Elu ve'elu misarvim ba'ama, in the sewer system. I don't know if we should call it sewer system, in the drainage system. V'yotzim l'nachal kidroin, and they go outside of the Beis HaMikdash. V'nimkarim leganonim l'zabel, they sell it as fertilizer. Moyalim boy means there's an isser me'ilah. It's also for you to use that blood. Don't say it's waste from the Beis HaMikdash. It's actually something that they're going to sell. So how could it says mefurish lo yisoichal dam, you're not allowed to benefit from it. So how are they selling it to these gardeners? Shani dam diskash l'mayim. D'chsiv lo yisochlenu al haaretz l'shpachenu kamayim. We had it at least once, probably twice in this masechta. Lo yisochlenu al haaretz l'shpachenu kamayim. Blood. Don't eat it. Spill it on the floor like water. Ma'mayim mutarim avdam mutar. So Memela, there's a special pasuk that tells us that blood is mutar ba'ana. Is Yeshua around there? Where's that clock? I need like some sort of, I have no way to know where I am. 34? Yeshua, is the clock still in the kitchen over there? Ve'ema, okay, on the screen, it's also good. Ma'mayim mutarim avdam mutar. Ve'ema, so now the Gemara just says, okay, fine. So we have a special chiddush that blood is mutar ba'ana. It's like water. But who told you like water that's mutar ba'ana? Ve'ema kamayim ha'misnaschim agabei mizbeach on Sukkos. They pour water on the mizbeach and that water is asur. Or avo kamayim, roiv mayim. It says al haaretz l'shpachenu kamayim, like water. It doesn't refer to the water of the one time a year, like most water. Midi roiv mayim ksiv. Who says most? Elo Ravashi kamayim nishpachim v'lo kamayim anisachim. Because that's nisuch hamayim. Nisuch hamayim is a different lashon than shvicha. Shvicha is regular water. So we just went through all this. So we're flying through this. No, mei avodah zara, mei mizbeach. That what is water that's asur to benefit from? That's the water on Sukkos. That we said no. What about water from avodah zara? That for sure it's avodah zara. Hasamnami nisuch yikri. So that is different because it's also called nisuch, and we're talking about shkoyach, and we're talking about shvicha. D'chsev yishtu yein nesicham. Fine. We just turned to Daf Beis, Amud Beis. Sponsored Lilu Nishmas Ruchama Chaya Fruma Aleh Shalom Bas Rabdoiv Pinchas Yibal Chaim Toivim, and Lilu Nishmas Rabbi Chil Shraga Ben Avram Alevi Alav Shalom. Second sponsor is Kalman from the Five Towns, Menachem Mendel, Lilu Nishmas Menachem Mendel Ben Simcha, and the third sponsored by the Fine and Pro. Zev, Reb Zev Fine, Mr. Zev Fine, who started with us just recently. Not recently. I don't know. What is it? A year ago or so. It's his 76th birthday today. Dani, the whole mishpach, very proud of him. It's a tremendous thing. He started at a very late age, and it really changed everybody's life. The whole family became closer. It's a tremendous thing. So happy birthday, Mr. Fine. Shalom Aleichem, Mr. Fine. So, sponsored by the Fine and Pearl families in the schus of Refuah Shlema for Mindel Elka Bas Edel. All right. Well, now, going back to Chizkiah. Chizkiah is of the opinion that if it doesn't say lo ye'achel, lo ye'achel is a special lashon. This is lo yoichal. So, here, put this over here. We have in this pasuk, rak chazak levidli achol adam. So we have a hekesh, dam, ki adam hu hanefesh, lo yisoichal nefesh ma'basar. Well, maybe I jumped that. L'mayim is a itzkish dam l'mayim. It's a different pasuk. So according to Chizkiah, that anyway, there's no Isser Hana, so then why does the Torah give us a hekesh between blood and water? Now we all know the answer pretty much, because we learned it. Look at the Rabbi Chia bar Abba, Rabbi Chia bar Abba, Rabbi Yochanan Menayin, L'dam Kochim Sheni Machshir. Again, talking about Hechsher L'kabel Tumah. To make food susceptible to Tumah, any food, you need to sprinkle it with one of the Shiva Mashkim. I'm going to try to do the Shiva Mashkim Bal Peh now. Help me out if I miss anything. You have water, wine, oil, milk, dew, blood, and honey. Not in that order. Whatever. Okay, fine. Those are the Shiva Mashkim. So, but one of the seven is blood. Yet if you take blood from the Beis Hamikdash, it doesn't, and you sprinkle it on meat, let's say, that whole sugya that we had, it doesn't make the meat mukhshel l'kabel tumah. It's not susceptible to tumah. Shenemar lo yitoichleno ala oretz tishbecheno kamayim. Dam shenishbach kamayim machshir. Shenishbach kamayim ene machshir. So dafke blood that spills like water, but in the Beis Hamikdash the blood doesn't spill like water. Why doesn't it spill like water? Because you have to catch it in a vessel. So since you have to catch it in a vessel, it's not like water, and it doesn't have the ability to be machshir lekabel tumah. End of that sugya. Next type of food that's asur b'hana, v'arei ever menachai, a limb from a live animal. You ripped off a limb by mistake, not by mistake, whatever happened, it's asur to eat that limb forever. Even if you shech the animal, it's still asur. D'chsiv lo yisoichal hanefesh ma'basar. Okay, so it says lo yisoichal again. There's an Isser Achila on Eber Menachai. So that should include also Isser Hana. According to Rebbe Avo, that should include Isser Hana. B'tanya Rebbe Nazar Noimer. Minayin shelo yoshid adam kois yain lenazir ve'ever menachai levnei noyach. How do I know that you cannot give a cup of wine to somebody that's also to drink wine, such as a nazir? Ve'ever menachai levnei noyach, and a limb to bnei noyach. Machlekes Rishonim, what's a bnei noyach? Is it before Yaakov Avinu, after? Tameloymar v'lefnei iver lo yisite michshol. The famous pasuk. You shouldn't put a stumbling block in front of a blind person. In Ruchnis as well. So in Mela, you're not allowed to give a cup of wine to a nazir. You're not allowed to give even a chayta b'nei noyach. Or we had the Shaila, Reb Shlomo Zalman Shaila, could you give a piece of a donut that's chadash to somebody that's not makvin on it? I mentioned yesterday because one of the things here is chadash. Ooh, I took it out by mistake. It's there? Where is it? Oh, here. Chadash, right here. It's one of the things, chadash. I mentioned, I didn't see so many Hasidim watching last night. There's one or two. So I went on a tangent a little bit. Okay, fine. Chappening them. They chapped me, chapped them. Kitzer, fine. Shlomo Zalman says it's okay. It's mutter. There's no lifnei iver. Derech Haga, I just want to say a quick story. The story, it could go, there's the same exact story. I saw the same exact story with the Brisker Rav and with the Alexander Rebbe. So we're going to go with Alexander Rebbe. The Brisker Rav is about a Rosh Hashiva looking for a job, a shtela. And this one is a shidduch. The story goes that they read a shidduch. There was a guy, there was a boy that had unbelievable yichus, and he came from a tremendous mishpacha, and he was a Bal Kishrin, the best in the yeshiva, and he had money, and alle gute Sachen. And then there's a very shvache girl in the neighborhood, in the shul, also part of the Alexander Hasidus. Ma'am shvach, no yichus, nothing, garnished. They read the shidduch. So the girl's father is very excited. He ran to the Rebbe, and he asked the Rebbe, is it a good shidduch? The Rebbe said, Avada, you should jump on it. It's unbelievable. So he goes to the future mechutin. He says, the Rebbe said it's a tremendous shidduch. So the guy runs to the Rebbe. The Rebbe said, it doesn't make sense. He goes to the Rebbe says, absolutely not, don't do it. Not a shidduch. So he comes back, tells the girl's father, the Rebbe said no. He said, but the Rebbe said yes. Okay, we're good friends, let's go to the Rebbe. So the girl's father runs into the Rebbe, new Rebbe. The Rebbe says, unbelievable shidduch. Go for it 100%. So he comes out, he says, the Rebbe so let me go in. He goes in there, says, run away, it's not for you. He says, okay, let's go together. So now they put the Rebbe on the spot. You told him yes, you told me what's going on? He says, the Rebbe said, listen, for you, it's unbelievable shidduch. Of course you should go for it. It's a tremendous. But for you, why are you going for such a shidduch? You can do much better. So l'fnei ivlei see the michshol is also, you're not allowed to give bad advice to somebody. It's not just, don't be machshalim with the isser, don't give bad advice. If it's not a good shidduch, don't say it's a good shidduch when it's not a good shidduch. For you, it's a good shidduch. For you, it's not. You have to know what it is. Okay. L'fnei ivlei see the michshol. Holoklavim shari. Says Mefurish over here in the Gemara that you cannot give this cup of wine. You can't give this Eiver Menachai. Eiver Menachai you can't give to Ben Noach. Why? Only for one reason. Because he's usher in it. But it doesn't say you're not allowed to give it to him because you're not allowed to have an from it. It's mashma that you're allowed to have an from it. Who's that a kashan? On Rebavo. Rebavo again, it says Lo Soichal. Lo Soichal should mean it's usher bahana. So how are you doing this? Says the Gemara, Shani Eiver Menachai, Diskash Ledam. Dichsiv, Rak Chazak, Levilti Achol Adam, Ki Adamu HaNefesh. So here, this is the pasuk, right here. In this pasuk we have a hekesh. It says two Yisurim, Rak Chazak, Levilti Achol Adam. You should strengthen yourself, don't eat blood. Ki Adamu HaNefesh. And then it says, V'lo Yisoichal HaNefesh Ima Basar. This is the important part here. It's not in the Gemara. This part, right? A lot of times the Gemara understands that you know the pasuk well, Peh. But this is the important part. It tells you the Isra of Eiver Menachai. So Eiver Menachai and Dam are connected. They have a hekesh. And we learn from them. So Mela, just like Dam is mutabano. How do we know Dam is mutabano? We sell it to the gardeners. So too, Eiver Menachai is mutar bano. Bechizkiya says that if it doesn't say lo ya'achel, then there's no Isra no. Anyway, if I read this pasuk as Chizkiya would read it, Ra chazak levilti achol adam ki adam veloy soichal hanefesh im habasar. The word lo soichal, according to Chizkiya, doesn't mean anything. It means don't eat. It doesn't imply that you shouldn't have anah from it. So I could have anah from it. So then why do I need a hekesh? The hekesh is only according to Rebavo that says the word lo soichal means Isra anah. So I need to say, it's connected to blood, that it's mutar b'ana. But according to Chizkiya, that lo yisoichal doesn't mean Isra ana. So why do I need a special hekesh over here? Says the Gemara, Chizkiya l'ma yichas iskash eiver menachai l'dam, or ma'aloch, damu d'iskash leiver menachai, ma'eiver menachai osir, avda menachai osir. The opposite, the reverse. There is a hekesh. But I learned it this way, not this way. That blood is asur min achai. If there's an animal that's alive, it's also to drink. You get an isur even min achai drinking it. Okay, so there's different types of blood. The dama kaza, the bloodletting that the neshama is telling it, that the different colors, we said, black, red, it comes out hard in the beginning, that is dam that you're not allowed to drink. That will be Ever Min Achai. You're not allowed to drink blood, but the Isser Ever Min Achai. All right, next one. Hold on. Maybe I should say hello to some people on Zoom. Stam, to bother you guys here in the Beis Medrash. Hi, Noam Fix. Shalom Aleichem. You lost your job today. No, you're gonna say to him, right? He could say it. Noam doesn't want to say it. He says you. He doesn't want to say it. He told me yesterday he doesn't want to say it. He told me other things yesterday that I implied from that he doesn't want to say. He's a big on of. Akiva Austin, Shalom Aleichem. How are you? Tzvi Fine, how are you? Mazel Tov, happy birthday. David Holder. Oh, we just got an email from David Holder, no? Something like that. Okay. Oh, that's what it was. He sponsored yesterday. I knew it was something. And Izu Fried from Spain. Are you in Spain now or are you in Vienna? In Spain. Exotic places. All right, fine. Let's go to the next sugya. Varei Shara Niskal. Yeah. Who? He's on? Avi Mendelbaum? He's not on the first. Oh, he is. He's on the second row. Avi Mendelbaum, Shalom Aleichem. I love you, man. No hard feelings. Oh, so once he's on, he wrote me an email. Do you hate science? No, I love science. I actually love science. I love science. I just don't like when they talk about science in the beginning of the shir. That's all I was saying. It's a shir. It's Daf Yomi. So science is over here and shir is over here. You understand? That's all I was saying. But I do love science personally. I'm just saying, Avi, we'll schmooze on the phone one day. Don't be insulted. I'm happy to see you that you're here and you're still holding and you should have atzlacha with all your work and come back to Israel soon. Shar Niskal is a special ox, a very not special ox, an ox that killed another human being or a human being. So we condemned him to the death penalty. He gets stoning. He's asur bahana. Now, if you look at the lashon here, look at this. It says the Rachmana Omar lo ye'achel. That's the interesting lashon. That's the lashon that even Chizkiah says implies Isra'ana. Okay, so it's asur bahana according to everybody. According to Chizkiah, and certainly according to Rabavo. Lo ye'achel b'sar utanya mimashma shenemar sakal yisakal ashar. What are you doing with this animal? You kill it. You don't shecht it. You stone it to death. Nebuch. So then why does the Torah have to tell me you're not allowed to eat it? Of course. It's a shtik nevela. It died through stoning. What's the hava meaning that I could eat it? Once it's sentenced to death, and then you ran ahead, you decided to be a chaver man, you're going to shecht it real quickly and eat it. So that's also. So of course you can't eat it. That's what the Torah is telling you. Lo yachal, even if it wasn't stoned, even if you shechted it properly, you can't eat it. How do you know you're not allowed to have any anah from it? Tamad loymar, ubal hashor naki. Naki. My mashma. What does the word naki mean? Naki in English means clean. So how does clean mean that you can't have anah from it? Shimon Ben Zoyma Ka'adam Sho'imir L'Chaveira Yatsa Ploini Naki Min Achasov. And that's also in English. He was wiped clean. A clean slate. He doesn't have anything. Zero. So Memela, when it comes to this, I know the same thing. He's Naki. You can't have any benefit from it. Ve'in Loi Bohem Anoshel Klum. Zero. Ask the Gemara the question. Time because of Ubal Naki. It's only because I said the word Naki. Dim Lo Yochel is Achila Mashma. Ano Lo Mashma. Bam kasha. Why do I need naki? You told me that according to everybody, even according to Chizkiah, the word lo yachal means no hana. Forget about eating. It means zero. So why do I need the Torah to say naki? Says the Gemara, you're right. I'm not taking it back. Lo yachal means, even according to Chizkiah, do not benefit from it at all. So what do I need Naki for? Something separate. You cannot benefit even from the hide. The hide is also asubano. You think the hide is not part of it, maybe? We're not talking about the hide. We're only talking about the meat. Come on, and even the hide is asubano. According to the Tanaim that use this word naki for a completely different drasha, what's the other drasha? So, when we learn Baba Kama, how you doing? When we learn Baba Kama, everybody in what grade did they start learning Gemara? They all know about this, right? David, you know about this. You know about a tam and a muad? Of course he knows tam and a muad. So an ox that gores less than 3 times is a tam. He only has to pay half. 3 times he has to pay, he's a muad, he has to pay the full amount. If after 3 times he kills a human being, he has to pay koifer. He has to pay money. So I would think that just like every time, if he's a tam, he pays 50%. So if he's a tam and he kills a human being, he should pay 50% of koifer. No. Koifer is exclusive to a muad. A tam pays 0 when it comes to koifer. How do I know this? From the word naki. So they're using up the word naki. They can't use it for us. With mei vladois. Mei vladois is the concept, let's say, I'll call it a drive-by punch. So a guy tried to punch his friend. He wanted to punch his friend, but instead he punched a woman who was pregnant and she lost her pregnancy. So he has to pay for the vladois. If an ox does the same thing, a woman loses her pregnancy because of the ox, you don't have to pay. Naki. So then if they're using up the word naki, so how do you know that you're not allowed to use the hide of a shar niskal? Nafkalu me'es besarai es hatafal besarai. There's an extra word es, and we're darshaning the word es. Es means whatever is extra to the meat, not just the meat, but also the hide. V'idach es loy darish. He doesn't darshan es. K'desanya. Shimon am soyni yoyme v'amri lo nechemi am soyni. Hoye dorish kol esem shabbat Torah at shegia les Hashem lekecha tiro. Peirash. What happened? She came to the pasuk as Hashem lekecha tiro. He used to darshan every es in the Torah. Every time we get to the sugya, it's a very famous, one of the famous sugyas in Shas. I love pulling out the sefer. I have a lot of anah from this. This is Rabbi Pessin's chumash, but it says here that it was written by his bar mitzvah bacher. He gave this out at the bar mitzvah of his son, not Elio, right? The other one. Yehuda Pessin. Yehuda Pessin wrote this chumash with a little bit of help from his father. And it has here 4,000 esim. Because all the esim and gams in the whole Torah, it's 2 volumes, by the way. He goes there. I didn't realize. Almost every page that you open up, the Torah says es. Everywhere. Es ha'even, es nafshecha, es ishto, sometimes 5-6 times on one page. And he goes and he tells you every one what it is, what it comes to tell you. Unbelievable. So anyway, so imagine you compile this whole thing, 2 of these, and then you come to one pasuk. Es Hashem elikecha tira. How could you add something to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? There's only one HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So he said, you know what? He took the Sfarim, he threw it in the Shemus. That's it. Done. Rebbe, kol esem shedarashto ma'atiyeh. What happened? You said 3,999 drushes. All those are garbage. Amar lehem kishem shekibalti schar ala drisha or sachar. I once made the mistake, big mistake. Like when I was in the Magachir in Chicago, I said, like one of my first siyumim there, I said, Shadam kam schar, vehem kam schar, and they jumped. Sachar! Okay, fine. Sochar. Sochar ala drisha. Kachan mikabel sochar ala prisha. You know what I'm talking about, those guys? Put me under the table right there in front of everybody. Huh? No, these are Chicagoans. The whole Shas, the whole Masechta, the guy didn't say a word. All of a sudden, by the Hadran, Shalom Aleichem, he remembers someone, he was in another Siyum that they yelled at the guy, so he's also going to yell at this guy. Okay, fine. So what's going on here? So first of all, it's a tremendous aside. Tremendous aside. They have it in real estate also. They say in real estate, sometimes the best real estate deal is the deal you don't do. That itself is the best deal. It's time to go into a deal and then lose all your money is not kedai. Over here, just like I have sechar for darshaning, Hakadosh Baruch Hu is going to pay me for fessing up and saying that it's not okay. That's not a good pshat. Take me back, I get sechar the same way. It's the best deal. And here, I mentioned it before, I don't remember when, but I think it's kedai, it's a shtickle chapi. If you think about it. You have a person who's a very shvach abal kishrin, let's say. He's very, very shvach. But he works like a dog. He works all day and night for avodas Hashem. All day and night. He comes up with shvach hazak, he barely understands the daf, he barely understands his flying, but he works really hard. That's person A. Then you have person B, who grew up, went to all the best yeshivas, he's about kishrin, he this, he mamish. He became a rav when he was 19 years old, he got smicha when he was 18. But he only works about 50% of his capacity. He barely works. He's about kishrin. So klapi shmaya, in Shemayim, who has more sechar? The guy that works really, really hard, and he works 80% of his capacity, or this guy that's a rav already in a big neighborhood, blah, 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 but he only works 50%. Obviously, the guy that works really hard, he has much more schar in Shemayim. Yet, here's the chiddush. If both of these people walk into a shul, who do you have to be mechabed? You have to be mechabed the Rav. You have to be mechabed the Rav. It's a big chiddush. And that's what this pasuk is coming to tell us. Es Hashem elikecha tira l'rabbis talmid chachamim. By Klav Yishmaya, this guy, this loserish looking guy, he's much more chashuv. Tachtoinim lemala, elyoinim lemata, come shamayim, this Rav is going to be sitting in the back, not in the front. No. Because he represents Torah. He represents HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Memela, you have to be mechabed him. That guy that works 80%, and he's a much harder worker, and he has much more schar, he has to be mechabed that Rav, and not vice versa. It's an unbelievable chiddush, and that's what we learn from this pasuk. As Hashem alikecha tiro l'rabbis talmid chachamim. V'arei arlo. What about fruit that's less than 3 years old? Rachman omar reilim lo yiyachel. Oh, so once again we have the funny word lo yiyachel. It should say, what should it say? Lo yichal. Lo yiyachel is to tell us, even according to Chizkiah, that it's also bahana. V'tanya reilim lo yiyachel ein li lo yisachilo minayin shlo yehena mimenu. You're not allowed to have any benefit from it. Shlo yitzba boy. Okay, Tosis sticks in. Lo yitzba. It already says you can't have enough from it. Lo yitzba, maybe it doesn't have any mamoshes. It's just a color. It doesn't even come off. It's like, okay, lo yitzba boy. V'lo yadi v'saner. This is Nagel Amais. We don't have that much time. But Rabbi Avram Weisfish sent me a beautiful thing. I saw it on Friday, so I don't remember it 100%. It's already more than a day old. But what about Ner Chanukah? Ner Chanukah. Could you light Ner Chanukah with Arla? Mitzvahs lav lehenois nitnu. I'm not having an anah from it. I'm just lighting it in there. I'm doing a mitzvah with it.
Yeah, otherwise you have to buy. You're not buying because of that shame.
So what? But mitzvahs lav lehenois nitnu. There's no hana in a mitzvah. You don't have. Anyway, fine. He goes into if it's bas b'chalav. There's ketusim michtashiura. Not ketusim michtashiura. A very, very strong line from the Piskei Tshuva on the Pri Megadim that he made a mistake. I didn't understand it 100%. I have to look into it a lot more because we learned ketusim michtashiura is that it's broken up into little pieces. Not that you're missing the shear. And broken up into little pieces is okay when it comes to a ner. As long as it gives off light, it's fine. But anyway, okay, Ayin Sham, it's a very nice sugya, Negeh to Chanukah actually. V'loi, huh? Right, that's what I'm saying. It's in Bas B'chalav much more than Arla. I just talking about Bas B'chalav is because this is Isser, I think it's strong in Bas B'chalav. Okay, fine. V'lo yad legesaner. Tamaloi mavaraltim ar losoi arelim lo yiyachel. 3 words, varaltim ar losoi arelim lo yiyachel. L'rabbis is kulam. Time because Rachman varaltim ar losoi arelim Halavachi avaminis achila mashma isana lo mashma. It's a bam kasha. You're telling me that the word lo yachal means everything, no hana at all. So then why do I need the Torah to tell me all these extra words? Says the Gemara, lo yachal mashma beinis achila beinis hana. You're right. We're not going to take that away. We're not backing off. Lo yachal means this or hana. B'shani asim l'chsiv lachem. Since it says the word lachem, it messes everything up. Lachem means it is for you. Benefit from it. Vitzrich. Oh, we're doing the Merkava. We're right back to Merkava up there. If you're in the base medrash and you don't know where we're holding, or you don't want to look in your Gemara, you look on the screen over here, and this, Rabbi Seltzer upstairs is pointing to where we're holding. You doing charts also? Not yet. It's 800 on the screen. So we have to stop. Vitzrich. Should we? You know what? The sugi stops like 8 lines down, so we'll just stop right over here. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Say. Mishkoyach, thanks for joining us. Rabbi Sai, we're going to try to get more people in here. We're going to try to figure out how to do it, make a normal rotation. But for now, we'll keep it as is. Those who were here, and there's a pretty big oilam that was here for the last month, or even more than a month, after Shir. Yeah, go ahead. All right, I have to speak to the guys on Zoom.